So good afternoon. My name is Darcy Dugan. I'm with the Alaska Ocean Observing System and also the coordinator for the new Alaska Ocean Acidification Network, and I'll be the chair for this afternoon's session. I want to start off by thanking the earlier speakers today, Tom Robinson this morning, the Arctic ambassadors, the speakers from the fisheries session for setting the stage for the end of the day today, and also the thoughts that were shared just now by Rick. And a reminder to all of us that this resource is not, this marine resource that we've got is not necessarily replaceable, and that it's really valuable to all of us, and that was also good inspiration for us to think about ways to improve our collaboration and also think creatively as we start looking at some of these problems that are harder to solve. This afternoon we're going to be talking about ocean acidification. And this is a topic that's coming to the forefront of conversations around the world with respect to fisheries, food chains, mariculture, subsistence, and overall ocean health. Ocean acidification has been referred to as the evil twin of climate change, largely because it's caused by some of the same processes. As the carbon dioxide that's released by humans goes into the atmosphere, about half of it is absorbed by the atmosphere, and a quarter ends up getting absorbed by the ocean. And this changes the chemistry of the seawater, and that has serious consequences for marine life and consequently for humans. So today we're going to be looking more into that, learning about what it is we know so far, what it is we don't know, some of the questions that we are still trying to answer. And here in Alaska, we're particularly susceptible to ocean acidification. Our first speaker today is going to be Jessica Cross. She's going to be giving us a foundation about how OA works, so kind of a primer, the nuts and bolts for people who are less familiar with the topic. And she's going to discuss why it's particularly a concern in Alaska, and also the types of monitoring that are going on around our state. There's some new technology out there that's really exciting that allows us to cover our vast coast faster and more efficiently. After Jessica, we're going to hear from Bob Foy about what acidic conditions might mean for marine life in Alaska. And Bob is the director of the Kodiak NOAA Lab, and he's going to be discussing what researchers are doing to look into how species might respond to different types of conditions and what we might expect in the future. And our session is going to close with Steve Colt, who is an economics professor at APU, and he will be discussing economic vulnerability of Alaska in the face of ocean acidification, or looking at economic vulnerability of ocean acidification in Alaska, and sharing the results of a statewide analysis. And after that, we'll have time for questions. So facing a topic like ocean acidification can be daunting, and some people ask, well, what can we do about it? As Alaskans, the first thing that we can do is be informed and engaged. And we've been talking about coastal resilience today at this forum. And for ocean acidification, building resilience starts with being educated. And this means knowing as much as we can about the science and the processes, and working together as a community to discuss what changes we might expect and how we can respond to those changes. And so with this in mind, the Ocean Acidification Network, the Alaska Ocean Acidification Network, was launched this summer. And I'm going to take just a couple minutes to introduce you to this network before we get started with our speakers. We're the fourth region in the country to develop a network, and the mission is basically to expand the understanding of ocean acidification in Alaska. And one part of this is helping the researchers collaborate. So that's providing a forum to discuss monitoring and collaboration in research to help identify gaps in our knowledge and to help make the most of our research money, since monitoring, as we all know, is quite expensive and logistically challenging up here. Another part of the network is helping educate the public and various stakeholder groups so that we can collectively understand the process and the consequences. And then a third part is linking the researchers and the stakeholders so that people can get answers to questions about these processes in their own backyards. So that's kind of a two-way exchange. It's disseminating the best science that we know of to Alaskans, and then also listening to community members to help identify information needs. So let's see. I'm just going to give you a quick tour. There's a website. First I should say the coordinator of this network is the Alaska Ocean Observing System, but it's really strung together by a large number of partners. There's a 12-person steering committee. A couple of those folks are in the room. Melissa Good with Sea Grant, based here in Alaska. Bob Foy, who's one of our speakers today. There's a member from the Alaska Bering Sea crabbers industry, someone from the shellfish industry, some of the research institutions here. There's tribal representation. So basically, this is an issue that percolates into all different parts of our state, and we're trying to get contributions from all of those and engagement. And let's see, so back to the website. This is basically a centralized place to find information on ocean acidification in Alaska. You can find kind of the background 101, observed forecast and trends, links to data, some videos on the processes of ocean acidification. Since it's got chemistry, it's kind of technical. Sometimes it's nice to watch a video, and also a calendar of upcoming events. And I want to highlight a couple of pages on this website as well. On the left, you'll see an expertise database, so you can see who is involved in research and monitoring in this topic up here. So if you have specific questions, you can get in touch with them directly and probably get a response. And then the page on the right shows the monitoring sites around the state, some of which Jessica is going to discuss, and you could go and find more details on those, the points of contact, the description of the instruments, and a map of where these different instrumentation is located. A couple other activities that the network is involved in. There's a listserv. It's going to start going out monthly this month that will have information on the latest monitoring findings, upcoming talks, et cetera. You can sign up on the website. There's also, let's see, there's a sign-up sheet here, and there'll be one in the break room too, and we can add you on there. The network is also trying to help support scientists to come to venues like this, community science nights, annual meetings, workshops, et cetera. And there will be a State of the Science workshop, just have a slide on that, later this winter. It's free, it's open to the public. The registration will open later this month. And this will be, today is kind of a little brief glimpse of what will be discussed in much more detail during that conference. So there's a list of partners, and this is probably already out of date because this list continues to grow. So we would love for all of you to be engaged and part of this network.